When I was like 4 or 5, I guess I didn't know what a wig was, and I would watch SNL and think, wow, it must be really hard for them to dye and cut their hair backstage between sketches. I didn't realize I was wrong until I told my dad I wanted to be the person who cuts everybody's hair during commercial breaks, and he was like, with all due respect, what the hell are you talking about? Broke. Using boys will be boys to defend abusive and predatory behavior. Woke. Using boys will be boys to describe boys and men doing jackass style stuff for fun. Of course, he's teasing her. Boys will be boys. But, hate that. We got bored, so we decided to tie a Roman candle to a drone and have it chase us. Outstandingly good. People who say the wife instead of my wife are suspect at minimum. Why? You jealous of the man with the superlative wife? The wife against which all others are measured? The definitive wife. One wife to rule them all, and in the darkness, bind them. I'm so tired of breaking myself into bite-sized pieces. Stay whole and let them choke. Mood. Let them choke. Me. Opens a package and sets the box aside. My cat. This is another perfect example of how memes are just hieroglyphic. No one is gonna know what the F this means one day. Mike's hard bubble tea. It's just marbles. How I think Zootopia was made. Person at Disney Animation Studios. We should make a buddy cop movie. Other person. Did you say buddy cop movie? First person. Yes. Can you even sue the president? Like what if you tried to sue Obama and you just got a letter back saying no and he came to your house and did the worm? Why is it I don't find text posts like this strange anymore? Plague Doctor mask, but it's a worm on a string face. One of the funniest things I ever experienced was when I went to go see John Mulaney live, and halfway through a bit about how expensive college in the States is, he looked down at the sleeve of his suit jacket and just stopped, dead halt, mid-sentence. And after like 3 seconds, where we are all trying to figure out the punchline, because the story clearly hadn't ended, and John Mulaney quietly says, has there been tinfoil on my buttons the whole goddamn show? He'd taken his suit to the dry cleaner, and they wrapped the buttons on the sleeves and the coat with tinfoil to protect them, and John Mulaney didn't notice until halfway through his set, and was so flabbergasted that he never did finish the story about college, and instead did 5 minutes on how stupid it was that his buttons were reflecting the light, and he just didn't notice, and in that moment I understood more about John Mulaney as a person than I ever have. During one of his Portland shows, he noticed this like 7-year-old girl in the front row and asked her and her parents if she is aware that she is physically here right now or if she was just brought along. Turns out her favorite John Mulaney bit is a "and I'm new in town" bit, and that she's seen all his stuff. He was so shocked and discomforted by the fact a 7-year-old has seen his shows that he couldn't get through a bit about donating to charity without interrupting himself at least 3 times to import good life lessons on this small child, as if that makes up for all the horrible things he said that she heard. When I saw him in Fort Lauderdale, there was a bar in the lobby that people kept leaving to go to. At one point, a guy in the front row just got up and booked it to get drinks. John Mulaney looked over at a woman who was next to the empty seat and asked, "Are you with him? What's his name?" She was, in fact, with him, and she did tell him her date's name. John Mulaney considered this, looked around, and unplugged his microphone. Leaning into us, he told us that we were going to trick this guy so fucking hard. He said, at some point during the show, I'm going to stop and say, well, you guys know what they say here in Fort Lauderdale, and then you guys are all going to scream back, we love milkshakes. He'll be so confused. He then continued on with the show as normal. The drinks guy returned to his seat, and that was that for quite a long time. We thought he had forgotten about it until, at some point during what I believe was his McDonald's drive-thru bit, he shrugged his shoulders and said, you guys know what they say here in Fort Lauderdale? Naturally, we erupted with "We love milkshakes," and John Milani swung around to face the drinks guy and said, "I bet you're real confused now, huh, Jason?" So John Milani is a chaotic neutral cryptid. I saw him last night and there was a good 10-minute interlude where a woman told him everything she found wrong with his suit, including that his pants were too high-waisted, to which he replied, "That's where my hips are," and someone in the back shouted, "Look at that high-waisted man. He's got feminine hips." And he yelled back, "That's my joke. I'm offended." You put Rice Krispie treats back there. Like 40 of them. How many did you eat? They gone. I'm on a sugar high. A Rice Krispie treat sugar high right now. I have no idea where Indeed Wire ends and Chris Pratt begins.